Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It is June the 27th, and the volatility continues from the Brexit. And you can see we had a really crazy down day today. It was pretty much all downhill. You can see a couple of green longs I had in here earlier. To this point, we were really in a trading range, so I kind of treated this like a trading range. So you can see a couple of longs in here. But once this trend line was confirmed, you don't see many other longs until we went into this range, and even then they're green. You pretty much needed to be thinking short all day. Um, Pretty wild day. You could be done by 9 o'clock. I had a little issue with my chart this morning. I didn't realize it until somebody uh, posted a comment on the website that they had a lot more bars than me. And I did. I went back and reloaded mine, and it did add a lot of bars. It really only changed from it had to do it. It obviously had something to do from when I opened my chart back to the opening. I didn't get everything for some reason, and I didn't realize it because it's just so volatile that there still was plenty of bars. So it wasn't anything that looked out of the ordinary. It didn't really change my short-term stuff in here, but it changed the bigger channel a little bit from what I originally was looking at this morning. This brown channel is the bigger one. You can see there's a big two-tiered channel working down, and we didn't get a break outside of that until well after 2 o'clock, 2:30 or so, really. But you needed to hone in, and you can't even see the real shorter term ones in there. But if you use this channel and the shorter term ones, and then this kind of trading range, um, you had everything you really needed. So um, yeah, I don't know what happened to my chart. It didn't really change anything in the big picture other than the big channel, and that wouldn't have mattered till later in the day anyway. So, but it did make my chart look much different than probably yours did, because once I reloaded, I did get a lot more bars in here from 7 o'clock back. So, but anyway, I'm backing out here, and you can see this looks real range-like um, up until we broke on through, really until we confirmed this trend channel. We pushed on through right there. Then you kind of had to wonder about it. Um, so, but at this point, people are probably going to ask me why I went long there. So I'm going to go to the far right side of the chart. And you can see there's your overnight high and there's your overnight low. Everything's within that. And we're bouncing off. We had a little failed break lower and we're bouncing. So this looks like a trading range. And so I'm trading it like a trading range at this point. So that's why we got a few longs in here at this point. And you can see you got a clear double bottom. You get a little failed break lower. You push. This is kind of a reversal pattern. You push up through the EMA. You get a two-legged pullback that touches right at the previous support area. You get a bullish bar. I like going long right there. Also, notice that's a new low. First entry, second entry. There's really a failed second entry short right there, but you would have waited on this second entry. You needed for it to come back and test the support and prove it was holding before you wanted to go long there, because we didn't have a new low in place either. So until we got this second entry long counting off the high, you really wanted to ignore that failed second entry long right there, just for that reason. But when it bounced again, especially if you kind of put your trend line right across those two closes right there, and you can see that fit all the way up through there, and it fits off the top too. So nice long. Then you get another second entry long here. This one is real close to being blue. I'm still going to leave it green because that's not a great signal bar. Notice the new high. You pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It bounces right off that trend line. It confirms it, but it's not a perfect signal bar. So I'm going to make it green, but it is real borderline being blue. And then, of course, you should have copied this line. I had it just a little bit steeper at first, but I moved it down a little bit. I made it fit up here. Once we got these third confirmation here, I fit it, and then I dropped it down. So I had it a little bit steeper at first, so it was coming right across here. But when it closed a little higher, I just change the angle slightly on it. But yeah, you got two legs back. And at this point, this is looking like a range day. We do have a little close outside, but you got enough room to get out here. It didn't quite make it to a new high, but it was enough to get out. So it was an easy scalp. And then, of course, the bottom fell out of it. And really, if you're paying attention, you can go short right here almost. The only reason I didn't like it is because it's still, if you move this to the far right-hand side, you can see this is still looking like a range day. And a lot of times you'll get a little fake out on the open. So I really didn't like going short right there at 8:30. I think you were better off to wait until it came back, because you don't know that it doesn't bounce here and go ahead and make the new high and then turn down, because we don't quite have a new high, and that's only one leg. So you probably could argue for that one to be green, because it does rather confirm that trend line. But I think I'll make it green, but I think you're better off to wait. It's really aggressive right there at the 8:30 opening. But if you want to be real aggressive, you might go short there. If it was a little further away from the EMA, I might be more inclined to make it blue. But for now, we'll leave it at that. But then you look how you push right through the EMA, pull back, you get a close outside that little short-term trend line and move to a new high. And where does it bounce? It turns down right off that trend line. Look how bearish. Put your stop there. That's an easy, quick trade of the day. And if you caught that one, you could have ridden a runner all day long, basically. So that's the kind you want to catch. And it's moving down. I didn't mark any of these. It's right into the support, and you see it failed. If it weren't for that trend line, you really could have made the argument right here to go long, and it would have worked, especially with that trap. But everything's still below the EMA, and this is bouncing off the midline. So you definitely don't want to go short there, because it's right back into that support. We didn't get back to the EMA. So this one's a little tricky. You probably could argue for a long there. It's definitely green. But I'll go ahead and make that one green for a long. And you really just have to skip that short. And now we pushed right on through. And now we're really looking like we're going lower. This blue has been confirmed. And look what happens. You got this trend line working up. You get the close outside. You try to make a new high, and it just kind of makes a double top right there where the support resistance is. Your signal bar is really, this one is the one I like. But this is a double test of this, so you could have gone short below that, but I really like waiting on this one, and you may not have got it in there in time, so you may have missed that one, but that's a nice setup. Bounces right off the low. There's actually a little trend line working right up through. Through here. You get the close outside, move to a new high, and where does it turn that off? That's the key entry point, main one. I don't like that signal bar, but when this one closes, just put your stop right there. And again, it's off to the races. And if you caught this one, you can ride it all day long as well. These short-term trend lines are really working well today. The only one that was really kind of iffy was here. But you actually get a failed second entry long here. Notice the new high. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's put that back. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. Look how bearish it broke higher and went right out the other side. Just go short. And it's just crawling down that midline, and then it breaks through. It comes back. This is generally not a bad place to go short if you've got a confirmed channel here in the midline, because you can see it creeping down. And usually when it pulls back under and tests it and turns down and gives you that bearish bar, that's usually a pretty good trade, and it would have worked. We're just a long way away from the EMA. Is the only reason I don't like it. But with market being this bearish, it probably should at least be green. So I'm going to make it green. But you got to really understand what's going on and be reading it right and see those midlines and all. And then it works its way back up. And this is another one. You don't get a close outside till here. And you really just don't get a good bar to enter on. You might have let it break below this one and dropped a limit order in where you would have had your stop to see if you got filled. I don't think you would have even got filled. But if you could have gotten filled like that, because this thing's really looking bearish now. So really any opportunity to go short, you almost have to take it. But you can see like right here, you have that happen and you would have got trapped and stopped out. So it's just not hardly worth it. You're better off to wait because it won't be but a few minutes that you'll get a correct setup just like you did right here. You got a trend line working up, you get a close outside. You don't have a new high here, and that's the reason I didn't mark that one. You still would have got a scalp, but notice what happens. You get two legs down, it moves up, and then you make a new high, and there's a big bearish bar. Just go short there. This one sets the trend line. It's not bearish enough. There's a trap right here, failed second entry long, and it is two measured legs. And you got to figure we're probably trying to head to the other side, but it's right into this lower side. So again, it's one you could mark green because on a day like this, you're just looking for reasons to get short. But you're going short at the low of the day, a good bit, a little ways away from the EMA. But if you're seeing this two-tiered channel, you figure we're probably going to work lower, and this thing just creeps right down that line. And the only reason it bounces early is because it runs into the bigger brown channel. And you probably may not have even had that in place until now. And you get a little overshoot, and you see how far away you are from the EMA. But there's been no close outside that trend line yet, and this thing has been hugely bearish. So you better follow the rule on this one. It's working up. You get to close. You get to move to a new high. Even though that looks like a doji, it closed, within a tick off its low. You're a little ways away from the EMA. Just go short right there. Look how it pushes right on through. The EMA pulls back. You get a big bearish bar. Go short again. Another move. It pulls up. This is not a very good setup, but when it breaks higher again and gives you another little trap right there, I like going short. It's right off that little trend line. And notice how we just can't push on any lower there. That's telling you we're probably going to bounce and go to the other side of the brown channel. And now we're moving up. You get a break, move to a new high. You really could, you might think about going short there, but you just broke this blue one. And so I would wait on two legs at least. You get another one there, right there, but it's not bearish enough. So, and we've pushed through this midline. We're still above this one. There's a chance that you might be looking at a spike in channel here. And if that's the case, then you got your first close outside of it. So you're probably going to make a new high. So I don't think you really want to be going short in here, but I don't really like going. I don't think you want to be going long in there, but I don't really see any shorts I like, except maybe this one. And even then I would wait because this is kind of iffy whether or not this was a close outside. It's not a convincing close. So, but you can see that it drops and falls. And we're just kind of going sideways. And the only reason I like this one is because you got that new low, you get a double test, and you got a nice bullish bar. And this is looking like a range, and you got room to get out there. So you're being aggressive here. And plus, if you see the bigger picture, we're probably headed to that upper side. So you might risk one here. I wouldn't risk it here that close to the high. When you get this double top and a little failed break higher up here, I like that one. Just looking for it to at least come to this other side, but it shoots right on through. Pulls back. You don't want to go short here. It's not bearish enough. There is a shorter term trend line coming down. It is the first break outside, but I'd wait on the second entry here and notice what happens before you get a second entry. It's back inside the range. And when it tests it and turns up and you got a failed second entry short, I like going long there, looking for it to go back to the other side. It was a quick, easy scalp. It pulls back, and then we're just kind of hung up here. And then guess what? You get a failed break higher, and it's right off that red channel, which you may not, you have to be really good to find that channel. So a lot of people may not have even had that until after the fact. And there actually is another trend line working up here, and you get a close and two legs up. So It's just a failed break higher and 2 legs up after a break. So I like that one. Nice bearish bar. And once again, if you caught that one, it's off to the races. I don't like this one because it's right into the um, support area there. Then you get another correction right here. You get a break, move to a new high. There's one short, but that's too bullish. That doji there is closing way up in the upper third. But when it turns up again, fails, and gives you that big bearish bar, just go short there. And I know that's a big bar, but on a day like this, I'd take that because you're going to at least test this low, and you're probably going to, you may make a new low on the blue channel. And it's tempting to go short right here, but there's a lot of support right there, and you can see that if you draw your line. And I don't think I would risk it. It's a big bearish bar, but I just don't think I'd risk that. And this is more of a breakout pullback short, and now you've got a closeout or new low. I wouldn't risk it. So now you're working up again. You get a break, close outside, a couple legs up, a big bearish bar. Really, you could go short right there. It wasn't quite back to that trend line, but you've got this, you got the range going on, and by this time you can see it's moved over here. That's a failed break higher, so there's no reason you can't take that one. It fits our rules. You could even consider that one, but you got a little support right across here, and it's pretty close to that one. But even then, with this being a bearish day like it's been, I don't see any problem with taking that one. I wouldn't have taken any more. I wouldn't have taken this one. Not into that support. Let's draw our trend line. I should have already had it on there. You can see that gives you a close outside and a new low, so I don't think I would take that one. And that gets you really, that's so close to 2 o'clock hour. Man, there's just so many trades today. I went through that pretty quick, but it's pretty obvious what's going on here. So hopefully you found this, at least this channel. But really, if you just use those shorter term corrections in this downtrend, it was pretty straightforward. Again, it was rather rangy. The only thing about this range at this point is that we're making lower highs each time, and that's generally a clue that you're going lower. So when it comes back to here and turns down off that blue trend line, you better go with that one. So really good trading day. It's a little nerve-wracking. The bars are kind of big in a lot of cases. There's a lot of bars. But the price action works. You got to be careful about your 2-point rule, especially when you get into iffy trades. If it's a sure thing, everything's lining up, key entry point, the whole bit, just take it. If you're not comfortable, trading live and using more than a 2-point stop, then get on the sim and trade this stuff, because you need the experience trading it and watching it and all that good stuff. So at least get on the sim and trade it and get that screen time and get that experience with a very volatile market, because it's not uncommon to get days and weeks and sometimes a month of this stuff. So this is pretty scary. But you know what? Every time you think the ES or the S&P is done, it rallies. So at some point, this thing is probably going to bounce and rally like crazy. And when it does, you want to take advantage of it. So we're finding some pretty good support in here around 1982. You can see that. Doesn't mean that we're going to bounce from here, but at some point, this thing will bounce. The smart traders will perceive it to be a value market, and they'll buy it up, and we'll start rocketing up once again. That's what's happened every time. Sometimes it goes for weeks, but it's generally pretty obvious once it's reversed. So can't even back out far enough to see, but we've fallen from 2120 to 1980. So over 100 points in about 3 days. That's a pretty good move. So it wouldn't surprise me to see it bounce at all sometime. And that was another thing. You really could measure your move from from Friday. And if you see there, we almost got a perfect measured move. So that's the way I would have measured that. And move it over. Or you might have even considered the other way I might have measured it was all the way to the close, which was here, and then go to that next high. And you can see we went much further down than that, but that's about where we're starting to get some more support across there. It's when we kind of went into that range. So there's a couple of different ways you could do that one. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. That's 20 minutes worth. A lot of trades there, a lot to digest. And I went through them pretty quickly, but that's the only way we're going to get through the whole day. And most of you like for me to get through the whole day. A lot of green ones in there, but really most of these shorts, um, you're just looking on days when you're just going straight down. You're just looking for a reason. Same thing if you're going straight up. You're just looking for a reason to get in. And so you can be a little more aggressive. So, but you don't, but you look at all those good red ones. And that's before 10 o'clock. So you really just wait on the good trades, and you can't hardly go wrong. And that's why I say stay away from. There's just too many easy good trades right in there, and that's all before 10 o'clock. Let's just say, actually, let's just say 10:30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 almost sure things, easy, following the rules, red trades, and most, several of them were at key entry points. So, you can be a little more choosy, I guess, on a day like this. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Hope you had a great trading day. Hope you're having a good week. And we'll be back again tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.